Hey there, guys. I am here with my little sister, Kenzie. We are going to read some mental health Reddit stories and just kind of react to them because I've been a huge fan recently of watching Shane from Smosh Pit. He does Reddit stories and they're very intriguing, very crazy, some of them. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is my little sister, Kenzie. I always say that me and Kenzie are the ones who split my mom's diagnosis. So my mom has schizoaffective disorder. I live with schizophrenia. Kenzie lives with bipolar disorder. So who better to react to mental health stories than maybe the least mentally stable family on the planet? So are you pumped? Are you excited?
Super pumped.
I've been building up to this because I found some unhinged stories, and I'm really excited to get your reaction on them. So. We're going to jump in and get started. If this is a segment you guys like, let me know, and we'll do it again, and I'll bring Kenzie back for it. So jumping into our first Reddit story. The title, I was like, oh, this one's going to piss Kenzie off right away. The title is, Am I the asshole for telling my wife I think she's bipolar? I was like, let's read it, but it's not looking good from the title.
Like, he has a chance
Yeah, there's a chance.
to redeem himself.
It all depends on how it was communicated, right? So, okay, let's get into it. My wife has been in therapy and has some anger issues. She's gotten better, but still gets short with me every month. Quotations, near period. He had to include that. Recently, she asked me what it's like for me when she gets like that. She's big on honesty, so I told her I think she's bipolar. She's been quiet and withdrawn ever since. If she seems like she's getting upset, she'll take a deep breath and leave the room, and she'll only speak to me when she's totally calm. She acts really sweet to me, which is nice, but she's like a Stepford wife, so that's pretty unsettling. I asked her if she's mad at me for saying she's bipolar. She said no, and thanked me for being honest. But then she told me she had an emergency session with her therapist, and when I asked why, she said she needed clarity on some issues. I ended up calling her sister, who's her best friend, and telling her what I said. I trust her sister, she's a smart woman. She said I was, quote, diagnosing my wife, and I can delay her process in therapy by using bipolar as a weapon. I said I was genuinely telling her what I think, and my sister-in-law said I don't have the right to diagnose her, and that I sound like I have no empathy for my wife. And of course, she told my wife, who is now upset with me for getting her sister involved because it's humiliating that I would tell anyone I think she's bipolar. I'm incredibly confused. My wife values honesty more than anyone I've ever met, so I don't get how I'm the bad guy for being honest. But now everyone is mad at me, so am I the asshole? So my first thing, there's a few things I didn't like early on, because I don't think, I think when you're with someone, it's pretty common to be like, hey, I think this could be something that could be concerning.
Yeah.
I don't like that he felt the need to mention the period. He's like, oh, near her period. She gets more upset. I'm like, okay.
Every woman does.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if that needed to be in this story. What I also didn't like is he said, she's big on honesty, so I told her I think she's bipolar. That's not honesty, that's his opinion. So I'm like, I don't know that he needed to say this. He could have said, hey, here are some symptoms that are a little concerning, and I think we should look into. But he's like, no, I think you're bipolar. Which is what every woman wants to hear, I'm sure, right?
And, like, he explained how, like, she's sweet.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's just around the period, she's kind of a bitch. And, like, we all are.
I don't think he does himself favors in this post by not... Like, he doesn't get into specific with symptoms or anything. Like, why do you think that? He's just like, I think my wife's bipolar.
But, like, so many people think that if a woman just snaps, they're bipolar.
And here's the thing, too, right? And we've talked about this. People still overuse the term bipolar a lot. So there's a ton of people who think mood swings or any general, like, mood changes is bipolar disorder. And it's way more than that. There's so many more symptoms involved and things. So it's like, that is such a bad start to, like, go in and be like, oh, I think she's bipolar, but doesn't list any of the symptoms. So
Yeah.
there is an edit to this. Another user posted the diagnostic criteria for bipolar, and it does not fit my wife. I will speak to her later and apologize. I'm ashamed of myself. Thanks for helping me out. So once again, like I said, he didn't go in with any understanding of what bipolar is. He's just like, mood swings, you're bipolar.
Mm-hmm. Not understanding that mood swings come with pregnancy, period.
But it's also just like human beings can change moods. So like I think if you for any reason think your spouse or loved one has a mental illness, I think the best way to go about it would be like, here are some symptoms that are concerning to me, and I wouldn't put a title on it. Don't be like, oh, you're bipolar or you're schizophrenic or whatever. Don't put a title on it. Just be like, hey, here are some symptoms that are concerning and we should keep an eye on. And maybe you could talk to someone about this. I think that's a fair conversation to have. But I was really hoping after the title, this would have. I was hoping he would redeem himself. It did not. It did not go.
No, he is the asshole.
Yeah. I think. And it's not even just. It's not even just like. I'm even saying like, soft. Like you're the asshole, but like soft.
Yeah.
Because like I get it
horribly.
Yeah. Like this could have been. He could have been a lot more mean or offensive about this. I think he just needs to learn more about the diagnosis before he tries to diagnose someone, and then have more conversations about it, not just put a title on your loved one. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was reading some of the comments too, and a lot of the comments were people just being like, hey, this is just name calling because you're not a psychiatrist, you aren't able to diagnose, and at the end of the day you're just like, you're bipolar. It's like how everyone's like, the weather changed quickly, it's bipolar. I'm like, that's not what that means, really. And I think we need to better understand mental illness before we start throwing around terms.
In the Midwest, you hear that every day, though.
Yeah.
The weather's bipolar.
Yeah. That's like people's favorite thing to say out here.
Oh my God, I drive like 15 different people around a day, and that's
everyone said it.
Practically.
And just for a little more background here, like I said, I live with schizophrenia. Kenzie lives with bipolar disorder, but we both live with mom who has schizoaffective disorder. So we grew up kind of seeing both sides of this illness. And now Kenzie's quite a bit younger than me. So when I went through my psychotic break, she was still kind of a kid, and she watched me go through a lot of my schizophrenia symptoms early on. So this story comes from Today I Messed Up subreddit. And it says, today I messed up by telling my future mother-in-law that Joan of Arc might have been schizophrenic. Loaded title right off the bat.
Yeah.
So it says, my girlfriend had a French mother and was from Orleans, France. I didn't know that much about French history at the time, so if I read something about French history somewhere, I'd bring it up and see what my girlfriend's mom thought. So one day I read an article somewhere, maybe Psychology Today, ? That analyzed the curious case of Joan of Arc, the teenage girl who helped lead an army in France after hearing God speak to her before being burned at the stake and becoming a martyr. The gist of the article was that using modern psychiatric interpretations, her behavior and her story indicated that she was likely a person living with schizophrenia, and the voice of God told her to become a warrior was essentially like many of the internal voices that plague folks suffering with schizophrenia. So I brought it up to my future mother-in-law. I mentioned, Joan of the Arc, right? Well, doctors now understand that she probably suffered from schizophrenia, and the voice of God was her internal schizophrenic voice instructing her, not unlike the Son of Sam killer who had a dog talking to him, telling him what to do. So she really was just suffering from a mental illness. This tiny, sweet, calm, humane woman that I loved like a second mother instantly widened eyes and almost doubled in size and slapped me hard across the cheek. She stood there shaking while pointing a finger at me and not saying a goddamn word, then wandered away. I was absolutely dumbfounded. I asked my girlfriend, and she tells me, don't worry about it, she just likes Joan of Arc, which is a crazy response if you just like it. You're like, smack. It seemed like an over-aggressive response to me, but whatever. So about 3 years later, we were on our European honeymoon, and we stayed with her grandma in Orleans for a few weeks. And every time we'd wander around the city and see signs, statues, paintings, churches, all with Joan of Arc's name on them, I was starting to realize that she was a much bigger deal in the town my mother grew up in than I ever imagined. She was the Maid of Orleans, I found out. Then my wife's grandma pulled out some scrapbooks of my wife's mom when she was younger, and it was like pulling out your obsessed daughter scrapbook full of hundreds of Taylor Swift pictures, except all of it was Joan of the Arc related, whom, you might recall, I claimed was actually schizophrenic. I have no idea why my wife didn't better prep me for this. Sometimes she just let me shoot myself in the foot because she found it goddamn hilarious. So that's the whole story. First of all, crazy response. And I like Joan of Arc to me is just like a historic figure, so I would never think anyone would take it that seriously. But maybe she's like from this town, I guess.
Like, okay, so even if she is schizophrenic, why slap him over it?
That's what I made. I'm like, that's such a crazy response. Hey, this historical figure may have had schizophrenia. So like, I associate this with being like Picasso. If I was like, oh, Picasso might have had schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, and you just got up and smacked me in the face, to me, that would be a crazy response, even if you like really admire the historic figure. And this is where I go a step further. They're talking about like historic figures. I say this a lot about people in historical context, because when you hear stories like Salem witch trials or stuff like that, I'm like, sounds like a lot of people with delusions and schizophrenia. So I get it. And I find that kind of stuff interesting because, like, we'll never know. Religion played a different role in people's lives back then. So, like, we'll never know what she thought, felt, or believed. But I do find it interesting to look at, like, historical figures and being like, hey, this person might have lived with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. But to like, start a conversation with that and then get smacked in the face...
Did she smack him because she just hated the thought of him?
I think she was insulted that he would make that comment about someone she clearly like idolized, I think, from childhood. So yeah, a lot of the comments were people basically saying like, hey, you know, how are you supposed to know this? How were you supposed to know she'd be upset about this? But yeah, a lot of people said that she could have been delusional. She could have had schizophrenia. We'll never really know. So it's really just conjecture. It's just like a interesting topic more than anything. So to me, that's a crazy response. And hopefully their relationship got better, because it sounded like she was very upset about it.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one comes from the Am I the Asshole subreddit. Am I the asshole for encouraging my son to rethink starting a life with his possibly schizophrenic fiance? Not a great start.
I'm not liking it.
Yeah, the vibes are off, but we'll see. I am a mom, 51, of 4. My oldest, 32, has been with his fiance, 28 female, for 4 years now. From the beginning, I liked her. She has always been very lovely to me, the rest of the family, but I will say she seemed mysterious. For one, she never mentioned family ever when we talked about parents, siblings. She would just say something vague and then change the subject. My husband, 60, and I didn't think much of it at first. We thought she was just shy, but throughout the years, it didn't change, even as she got closer to us and started to get to know us. I also found it strange that it took my son so long to propose, since I knew just how clearly smitten he was for her. Smitten.
I love that word.
That's definitely a 51-year-old woman writing this post for sure. They were both in good financial places in their lives, careers, and of the course of the pandemic going on, it was understandable, but we still wondered. 3 months ago, he proposed a little after her birthday. Now they are planning to get married, but recently my daughter, 29, has told me some things that I and my husband have found concerning. My son's fiance has mentioned to his sister that they have serious mental health problems that run in their family, specifically schizophrenia. For years, my son's fiance worried that she might have it because she was still so young and that her other siblings and parents are diagnosed with it. That's why my son waited so long to propose, because she made him. Because she wanted to feel more sure that she didn't have it, but she also told my daughter that there is a possibility she could still be diagnosed with it later on, and that she will never be completely, quote, in the clear. We're going to touch on this more later because we know too much about this. But yeah, so this concerned me for many reasons, but mostly because I know my son and I know how much he wants children. How would this affect them having children? Could he pass it along to them? I called my son and talked to him about it, and of course he was upset with his sister for telling me, but at this point, it was a family matter. I don't like that. She's like, oh, now I know this, so it's a family matter. I'm like, it's still their business.
Yeah, still not a family matter.
It's still their business, unless they invite you in on this conversation. But anyways, we discussed what was said, and my son that he and his fiance would not be having children. I asked if this was what he wanted, and he said yes, he did want children. He would still pick a life with her rather than finding someone else and starting a family. While I understood my son's decision, I could not help but worry about him regretting this decision later. It's a huge decision, and not something to give up on easily. Plus, I think it's important for couples to share the same ideals. Quote, both want children, or don't want children. I discussed this matter with my husband and the rest of the siblings, and we agreed my son would most likely come to regret this in the future. And while we all love his fiance, schizophrenia is a serious mental illness, and it could ruin both her and my son's lives and careers if she is diagnosed. My son has told me to stop meddling, but how can I? ? I'm his mother, and I love him more than the world itself. I don't want him to make a mistake. I think that one of the last sentences was, he told me to stop meddling. Stop meddling.
I was about to say, I don't even know where to start. It could be because I'm menstruating, but oh my god, I can hear the whitewashed woman writing this. I can see her.
Oh yeah.
I can hear it. I don't like it.
Very Karen is what I'm picturing.
Okay. Why are you bringing the whole family in it? Her husband, her kids. Did she say her freaking sisters?
So here's where the fiance messed up, apparently. The fiance told the one who has a family history of schizophrenia. So the fiance told her soon-to-be husband's sister, who told the mom. They should have been able to trust the sister, and unfortunately, the sister is, out of all this story, one, I do think the mom is an asshole, but I'll get back to that. Two, I think the sisters might be the biggest asshole in this story, because they didn't want the mom a part of this conversation, obviously, and it's clear why, looking at the mom's reaction.
Yeah.
My guess is this mom, and I don't think she's a bad person. When I said she's the asshole, I don't think she's a bad person. She's concerned, and I don't think she understands schizophrenia or mental illness very well. And I get it. We live in a family with severe mental illness. We both have a parent with severe mental illness. And so, when I was younger, one of my biggest concerns was developing schizophrenia, which did end up happening to me in college. I always worry about that with, you and our brother, because I got diagnosed, and my biggest fear was that you guys would also get diagnosed. And that is part of the reason I didn't have a kid. So that part of the conversation, I do want people to understand, schizophrenia can be genetic, and their decision to not have a kid is a decision I hear a lot. Now, I'm not saying they couldn't have a kid, but I also think they are so responsible, because they've been together 4 years, and she said she didn't want to get married right away because she wanted to wait until she was a little bit more out of that window. Because once you get into your late 20s to early 30s, for women, that is kind of the most common age for a schizophrenia diagnosis. So it sounds like they're prepared, though, right? They've talked about it. They know what to expect. I love the couple in this story, actually. I think they're doing everything right. And it's hard because she might not ever go through this diagnosis. And in that case, they did all of this prep and hopefully for nothing, But how do you feel about the mom in this situation? It does seem like she's very much meddling, especially if her kid was like, hey, he decided hey, we're not going to have kids because I'd rather be with her than have kids. And I think that's a tough decision to make. That's, like I said, this is a very similar process I had to go through. But how do you feel about the mom?
I don't like how she just doesn't understand it, and how she's, making it seem so bad. But as an overprotective dog mom, I do understand. You just get protective over everything you don't understand.
Yep.
And
you get afraid of things you don't understand too.
Anything I don't understand, I get scared of immediately until I learn about it.
Well, and people like this, the mom, she's right. Schizophrenia is a very serious mental illness, but a lot of people, my guess is she probably grew up in a rural community where there's not a lot of people with schizophrenia. She probably doesn't know a ton about it, which is where we're from. And so what people don't realize is that individuals with schizophrenia can live very full, functional lives, especially with the right access to treatment, early intervention, care, medication. And it sounds like this couple is already planning for if something happens. They should be well ahead of the game. It sounds like they should be ready for if she gets this diagnosis and does start struggling. So I'm at that point, they're being so mature about this. They're taking everything into consideration. And that's why I said, I'm right off the bat, I think the mom's kind of an asshole. But this could be, as someone who lives with schizophrenia, I probably am thinking about it more. I think I'm in the mindset of the fiance, because I have schizophrenia, and I can only imagine what it would be like for my spouse's parents to be oh, you should reconsider marrying him because he has schizophrenia.
I understand you're a mom. You want the best for your son.
100%.
But, like, obviously, you said they're smart. They seem like they are mature.
They're educated about it. They've made the decision not to have kids. They're waiting specifically so she can be a little bit older to see if she has any symptoms. Like, honestly, this is one of the most prepared couples that has a family history that I've ever heard of. I wish I had been this prepared. And, she could end up getting a diagnosis, and all this preparation might not be effective, right? That's a very real thing. And then here's the thing, though. I just think that they've made all the right steps. They've made the decisions. They are adults. These aren't 19 and 20-year-olds. Her son is 32 and his fiance is 28. Like, they are adults. They've been together 4 years. And the mom even says at the very beginning, I liked her because she's always so lovely. I'm like, so it sounds like she is right now a person without mental illness. Here's why I think she's the asshole. In my mind, she's literally saying, oh, you should reconsider marrying your fiance because she could end up developing schizophrenia. Is that not what she's saying here?
No, it is, because there's nothing wrong with her.
Yeah, at this point,
it could affect your life. It could. What if?
Yeah. And even with the kids, like, I know a lot of people with severe mental illness who have kids and are good parents. Now, it is a lot harder. That's a whole nother conversation we could have. But they even went as far to make the decision to not have kids. I think that's such a hard decision to make and a very mature decision. That's something me and my wife discussed. And, like, schizophrenia is a genetic disorder. It can be passed down. And that's kind of what we experienced with, our parent. And so her concerns are valid. I just wish she was more educated about schizophrenia. That's where I'm at, I think, with this whole one. This one struck me because I was like, oh man, I have so many opinions on this.
And like, as having an ex-boyfriend with a very overbearing, protective mom, having it from that angle too, like, yeah, I wouldn't want her to know about anything.
Well, you can see, I bet she's actually a lot more involved with their lives, because the fact that she never brought up family from very early on. So the fiance, it says the fiance never discussed family and always was very vague about it. And I'm like, that's so intentional, which makes me think she already saw the mom was way too involved and overprotective.
Yeah.
And purposely didn't tell her that, which I think makes me believe that the mom actually is worse in this situation than she's portraying. What do you think the verdict was? What do you think people on Reddit said? Asshole or not the asshole?
Asshole.
Yes. So the verdict was asshole. First comment on here, you're the asshole. Your son and fiance have clearly discussed this extensively. Stay out of it. It's not your business at this point. That's literally what we said. We're like, you know what? At this point, mind your own.
Yep.
Someone else responded to that saying, this, OP, you're the asshole, and ableist. Even if she was schizophrenic, that wouldn't mean they couldn't get married or live a happy life, which is exactly what I said. So I live with schizophrenia, thanks to medication, treatment, early intervention, family support. I live a very good life. Better than a lot of people, actually. I would say even better than a lot of neurotypical people. I have a very comfortable, amazing life, and that's despite this illness. And even like you with bipolar disorder, you live a, fully functional life. And like, I think when you don't understand mental illness and schizophrenia, it seems a lot scarier than it really is.
Yeah, honestly, ever since I started getting more help and everything, like, I bake and I have a dogs and the little family. And
it's all the little things, it's all the little things you never thought you were going to be able to do that suddenly you're like, oh, I get to live a quote unquote normal life now.
Yeah.
Another comment said, you're the asshole. No, this was not a family matter. It was between your son and his fiance. Also, remember that if they want to in the future, adoption is a thing. Butt out. I forgot that she said that. When she said family member, we both were like, no, you have decided this is a family matter. Like, they purposely didn't want this to be a family matter. So last comment I'm going to read, someone put in quotations, but how can I? Because she was like, oh, I want to be okay with this, but how can I? So they put in quotations, but how can I? Like this. Every single time you feel yourself opening your mouth to tell your son that you know him better than he knows himself, and that you are more equipped to make these decisions than he is after years of wrestling with it, close your mouth again. I love when the comments go unhinged. Like, they're like, hey, how about this? Maybe shut your mouth. Maybe shut up.
literally, because, like, I understand this is your first time being a human, but, like, you don't want your parent telling you who the freak to have kids with.
Yeah, no.
And, like, based on a what if?
Yeah, on a what if is the craziest.
What if she gets a rack?
Yeah.
What if she...
The other part I think is, like, because we're talking about, like, what ifs. Even if she had schizophrenia, it sounds like they're very well equipped. Maybe they had been in the process getting through it, getting treatment.
Okay.
Then it's still, in that case, she's still the asshole. Because you're like, your wife that you love and have loved for 4 years suddenly has a mental illness. You should leave. Like, either way, I think her take is horrible. And the second part of this comment is, lots of couples can't have biological kids for a variety of reasons. Their relationships are just as meaningful, rich, and rewarding. This is not your business. Your son is a grown man grappling with the world and making his own choices. Respect that, or you're going to miss him because he's going to cut you out of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The comments are overwhelmingly people being like, hey, you're the asshole. One of the comments I read, it was, you're the asshole. Do you want your son to stop talking to you? No? Then shut up.
Yep.
But yeah, so overall, I'm just like, if you don't understand mental illness and either you, a loved one, or someone that's newly in your life is struggling, take a minute to learn about it. Because, like, we talked about this, I get it. It's easy to be afraid of something you don't understand. When we were young and mom was diagnosed and we at that point had not really experienced mental health or mental illness issues, I was afraid at times. You know, it's scary. And especially if you live in a small, like we live in a small rural area, no one talks about mental health. So it was very like, ooh, the boogeyman. And so that makes it, well, it was, you know, people are like, we can't talk about this thing. And then if you just learn about it, it gets so much easier to understand and to deal with. All right. So this is the last one. This is just from our mental health. It's a subreddit about mental health. And it was, so this one, I'm going to read the title and then it's just a few comments actually that we're going to read. So the title is, what funny stories do you have about your mental health? Basically what they're wanting in this subreddit is like for people to post stories that are more funny, which I love these because it takes a really tough issue and makes it like more humorous, which is how we cope with shit. Like,
Yep.
Dark humor survivors here. That is how we got through our mom's diagnosis, our own diagnoses. So like, for sure. So the first comment here was, I thought I was going to be president. I wasn't born in the US. I am not a citizen, but that didn't stop me from believing they'd changed the Constitution. And then someone responded that saying, thank you for your response, Mr. President. But this is very real. Like, as someone who's struggled with delusions in the past, shit like that, like, you're like, oh yeah, logically, you would think that that doesn't make sense. But delusions don't care about logic. So, like, I 100% get stuff like that. Someone said, I laugh at things about my OCD all the time. It's all I have left. Like, you think moving that fork will prevent your certain demise for whatsoever no reason? LMAO, okay, moves fork anyways. For anyone who doesn't know, like, people associate OCD with just like, oh, being organized. It's actually a lot of like intrusive thoughts and really like dark stuff. So like that is like a legitimate thing. Like people will be like, oh, if I don't do this, my whole family will die or something. And so like, so I do think like that's how I've always coped with my schizophrenia, is like laughing about it. Like people get really upset when I tell stories about hallucinations and then I laugh about it. I'm like, what the fuck else am I supposed to do? Me and you have told some hilarious stories about our bipolar disorder and schizophrenia.
Why would I be sad about it? I'm usually sad enough.
Exactly. Well, I've also, like, here's the thing, too, is, like, people are like, oh, it must be nice to just not care and laugh about it. I'm like, to be fair, we spent years being sad about it or being, like, depressed about it, upset about it. You can't live a good life like that, you know?
And if you're happy, even if people know that you're kind of messed up, if you're happy, it spreads other happiness. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy. Someone said, I imagined everyone was listening to me and that I was in a commercial while in a Starbucks. I've done stuff like that where I was like so delusional that I was like, this is my reality and everyone around me has to deal with it now. Because in that moment, like, you believe it, but that'd be crazy. Just imagine you're sitting in a Starbucks and someone's like, the pumpkin spice latte now on sale at Starbucks. You're like, who the fuck are you talking to? That would make me laugh. Like, I would be concerned, obviously, at first, but like looking back years later, I'd be like, that's kind of funny, actually.
Hilarious.
So this one, I specifically found this comment, and I thought of you for it. It says, one time I was manic as hell and I had a hair appointment in 3 days. I convinced myself that mania was just part of my hair appointment, like my hairstylist was in on me being manic, and it was just a huge joke we were gonna laugh about.
You know, I'm like, you know what? I can calm my manic episodes down. I'm like, you know what? I won't shop as much. I'll calm down. You know what?
Yeah, you're like, that'd be me being like, I'm just gonna stop having hallucinations now.
They just channeled it to other things.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, I've been in the kitchen whipping. I got pumpkin pies at home if you want some.
That just caught me. So I thought you were about to tell a story about mania. And you're like, pumpkin pies to me. Pumpkin pies.
Like,
I was waiting for the rest of the story. I was like, where is this going? Oh, no, that's
I've been manically baking.
Oh, you're just like,
Nonstop.
nonstop. Gotcha.
I don't even
take a pumpkin pie.
I don't even eat them. I just give them to people.
Like, I just started mashing pumpkins, dude. It just started happening.
I mean, I do be eating them.
Fair. I always say, like, one of my favorite stories that I tell is about, like, being in an argument with one of my friends. Me and one of my friends was arguing about Batman for like 2 hours straight, whether or not Batman was really a good guy because, like, he could have funded mental health programs instead of just beating up drug addicts and people who were mentally ill. And then after 2 hours, I realized I was hallucinating, and I had spent literally 2 hours arguing about Batman to a hallucination. And that's, like, to me, one of my funniest hallucination stories, and I love it.
My favorite is when you tell them to fuck off.
I do. There is a clip of me flipping off one of my hallucinations.
It's hilarious. It lives rent-free in my brain. When I tell people my brother's famous on TikTok, I show them him hallucinating and flipping them the fuck off.
It's just one that I've done it so many times. I
Repin it to the top of screen.
Put it on the top of the profile. So those are the ones I had for this episode. Let us know what you guys think. I would love to do. I found so many more. I'd love to do more of these. But like, overall, what was your take? Favorite story, least favorite story? What are you thinking?
I like the shorter ones because I have a short attention span, and I've also been up since 3 a.m.
Fair.
So shorter ones.
I was really hopeful for the first one with the title being "Am I the asshole for telling my wife I think she's bipolar?" I was like, let's hear him out, guys. Let's hear him out. And then it went exactly how I thought it was going to go. So that was a bummer. I did really find the one about Joan of Arc interesting because I feel like that's something I would do because I find that stuff super interesting when talking about like historical figures and mental illness. That's probably because I'm a mental health advocate, but I feel like I could end up doing that. Hopefully I don't do that and get slapped one day.
Well, I just know I work with elders. Well, people older than me, always, it's typical. I just know not to mention any type of mental health to them.
Yeah.
Because...
well, you never know what people's response.
Wait till people mention it to me. I'm not gonna lie, to get their takes, put my foot in the water and do dippy dip, because people be fucking nuts.
Yeah. I'm kind of the opposite.
Wait, we're nuts.
Yeah, we're nuts. People are kind of nuts. Who were the bipolar sister and the schizophrenic brother? We're like the Spider-Man meme where they're
I called some random innocent,
like, these people are nuts.
Some almond ass white suburban mom nuts.
Yeah, those people are nuts for sure. But no, I would love to do another one of these episodes. So let us know, and if you guys have any really crazy or funny or even like more deep and intense stories, send them my way, because I think we're going to start making a habit of this. Me and Kenzie are going to do some reactions to mental health ones. I'm going to be doing some reactions myself to mental health in the workplace Reddit story times. And then me and my wife are going to do some about autism, neurodivergence, stuff like that. So let us know down in the comments what you guys thought of these stories, what you'd like to hear more of, what you'd like to hear less of. Be sure to like and subscribe. shout out to my sister for being on this episode. If you guys liked having her on, let me know. If you didn't like her, let me know, and I'll stop asking her to come.
If you say no, I'm gonna show up anyway. I know how to get here. Ask how to get in.
She knows the passcode to the podcast door, so
I'm here all the time. Can't stop me.
can't stop, won't stop.
Might have a different hair color next time. Who knows?
Probably will.
Feeling manic.
All right, but yeah, thank you guys as always. And remember, my name's Kody, and I am in fact real. Take it easy, guys.